map true stories, real decisions, real consequences. She's 27 years old, engaged, and facing a question she never expected to ask. Not about love, not about loyalty, but about boundaries, and whether enforcing them makes her controlling. This story begins long before the engagement. It begins in her childhood. Her father wasn't a violent man. He wasn't absent. He showed up to school events. He made jokes. He knew how to charm a room, but he was a terrible husband. Growing up, she learned what infidelity looks like not through rumors, but through repetition. She remembers coming home to find her mother crying. Again. Her father would cheat. Her mother would lash out. He'd crack jokes to diffuse the tension, which only made things worse. And then, within days, everything would go back to normal, until it happened again. Over and over, she resented her father for his behavior, and quietly, she resented her mother too. Not for being hurt, but for staying. That pattern shaped her understanding of relationships long before she ever dated anyone herself. After college, she moved back in with her parents while she tried to stabilize her finances. It was during this time that she met a man she really liked. He came over often. They spent time at her parents' house. And surprisingly, her father took to him quickly. They bonded, fishing trips, camping trips, long conversations that felt at first harmless. She thought it was a good sign. She thought her father was finally behaving like a normal dad. Until one day, by accident, she overheard a conversation, and everything shifted. The trips weren't about fishing, they weren't about camping, they were about picking up women. Together. Her father wasn't just cheating on her mother. He was encouraging her boyfriend to cheat on her, and to be discreet about it. When confronted, they denied it. But she knew the truth. She didn't argue. She didn't negotiate. She broke up with him immediately. Her relationship with her father collapsed after that. Whatever distance existed before became emotional silence. She moved out a few months later and began limiting contact. Her apartment was only 20 minutes away, but she visited rarely, mostly for her mother's sake. Then, months later, she met someone new, her current fiancé. He was different, kind, respectful, consistent. She told him about what happened with her ex. She told him about her father. She explained why their relationship was strained. They dated for a year and a half. And when he proposed, she said yes. They were engaged just before Thanksgiving. When her mother found out, she begged them to come spend the holiday together. She framed it as a chance to reconnect, to heal. Her fiancé encouraged her to agree. So she did. The first night went smoothly. After dinner, her father invited her fiancé onto the porch to drink beer and talk. She and her mother joined them at first. The conversation revolved around football. After a while, she got tired. Her mother had already gone to bed. She told her fiancé she was going to sleep. He told her to go ahead. He'd be along shortly. She felt uneasy, but she didn't want to be the woman who monitored her partner's movements. So she went to bed. He came in much later that night. When she asked why he stayed up so long, he said they were talking about football. She didn't push. But over the weekend, she noticed a pattern. They spent a lot of time together. Her fiancé helped her father with chores. They ran errands together. When she brought it up, he said he was just being polite. She tried to let it go. Until weeks later, her fiancé casually mentioned he was going on a camping trip. She didn't think much of it at first. He'd gone camping before. But when she asked who he was going with, he became evasive. Eventually, he admitted the truth. He was going with her father. They had stayed in contact since Thanksgiving. They'd even gone to a football game together without telling her, because her father said she would make a big deal out of it. That sentence broke something. She told him no. She reminded him what happened with her ex. She explained why this wasn't just about jealousy, it was about history. He dismissed her concerns. He said she was being paranoid. He said her father had never mentioned women. He said her father didn't force her ex to cheat. And then he refused to cancel the trip. That's when she gave him the ultimatum. Either stop hanging out with her father, or she would call off the engagement. He accused her of trying to control him. He said her lack of trust meant she didn't believe in him. Since then, he's barely spoken to her. She's left wondering whether she crossed a line. She doesn't want to be controlling. She doesn't want to repeat her mother's mistakes. But she also doesn't want to ignore the warning signs she's seen before. This story isn't about whether her fiancé will cheat. It's about influence. It's about boundaries shaped by lived experience. It's about whether trauma-informed caution is the same thing as control. Her father has a pattern. That's not speculation. It's history. Her ex didn't cheat in a vacuum. He was encouraged. And now, the same dynamic is forming again. The fiancé may believe he's immune, but influence doesn't announce itself. It normalizes behavior slowly. It reframes what's acceptable. It creates permission structures. That doesn't mean the fiancé is guilty. But it does mean her discomfort isn't irrational. At the same time, ultimatums are serious. They test power dynamics. They reveal trust fractures. And they force a decision that can't be taken back. The real question isn't whether she's right or wrong. It's whether these two people share the same understanding of boundaries. She set one early. He knew it. Now he's challenging it. Marriage doesn't eliminate past trauma. It requires accommodating it, or deciding you can't. And sometimes, the hardest part of healing is recognizing that protecting yourself may cost you someone you love. So the question remains, is she controlling? Or is she refusing to repeat a cycle she's already seen destroy her family once before? Because sometimes the line between control and self-preservation isn't clear until you cross it. And sometimes walking away is the only way to stop history from repeating itself.